Hello, welcome back, podcast listeners, to another episode of Not Your Therapist. This is a part 2 episode of our addiction topic that we have going with Matt. If you listened to our episode from last week, then this will be a continuation of that. So I'm Brittany, and
I am Kelly. Hello.
Hi, Kelly. I'm looking at both of them, Matt and Kelly, on FaceTime.
Hello.
Hi, Matt.
The COVID sessions.
It's become quite the norm.
Yeah, and I feel like it will be for a while, but at least we can record remotely for podcasts. I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah, that's got to be great for you guys, because if you wanted to record somebody who's definitely not in Vancouver, you could totally do that. Like, totally set up.
A little pause. We are totally saying shalom at the end of this episode.
Shalom.
Okay.
In typical Matt fashion, we are saying shalom.
Amanda would love that. Dude, I was working at another studio one day, and an engineer walked in and who didn't have anything to do with the session, and the engineer that I was working with, who's half Japanese, half Jewish, or Israeli, but the guy walked in and he looked at him and he just kind of went, shalom. And the guy went, many shaloms. And I was like, that was the greatest, single-handedly the greatest interaction I think I've ever seen in my life. So since that day, I've said it, and I've put so many different spins on it that it drives Amanda fucking wild. Like, it drives her so mad.
Every time I see you, I just think shalom in my head because I just like know you for saying that.
It has evolved into something that it shouldn't have ever got to, but it's funny.
Can it mean other things, or is it just hello?
It's peace.
Peace.
Like, it just means like peace.
Oh.
So we were working with somebody. She thought it was hilarious that I was saying it. And I was like, I have a question for you, because Amanda says that I could sound anti-Semitic when I say it. But like, what is, as somebody who's Jewish, coming from the mouth of somebody who's not Jewish, how does that look? And she's like, it's fucking hilarious. So,
we hope we're not offending anybody with any of the goodbyes and different languages.
We're trying our best.
Yeah, like we want to include every language that we possibly can, honestly, in this podcast. It would be so much fun.
So to start this episode, we'll just kind of catch everyone up just in case you weren't able to listen to last episode. We are here today with Matt.
hello, guys.
Matt, do you want to just give just a quick overview, I guess, of what we kind of chatted about, and we'll kind of pick up from there.
We chatted about where the addiction started, family dynamic, how others in the family, not just parents, but extended family, treated the addiction. And we talked about how I first viewed the addiction and kind of transitioned to how I view the addiction now. Maybe I was a little wrong at first for thinking the way I did, which is, not anyone's fault, as we only know how to handle things with what we know. And I didn't know much at the time, so
I think it's important to recognize that statement as like, we only do what we know in so many different aspects of life.
Mm-hmm.
If someone's out there being malicious or like with an intent to do wrong in any way, they're kind of like the exception to that rule. Whereas everyone else, I think, truly is just trying to get by with whatever they've been taught or what they know.
I didn't know the term, you can only do what you know, until my cousin's husband, he brought that to light. And he's like, you're not, like, you guys, you didn't do anything wrong. You haven't done anything wrong. You're only doing what you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, wow. That's powerful.
It is.
Yeah.
It's completely switches your way of thinking of things. And that's what my therapist said to me in regards to like my issues with my dad, is like, he only does what he knows. And it's like, damn. Okay.
It's a way easier way to accept things when you realize, like, even for yourself, but like other people, the way that they're acting is because that's how they have acted their whole life. That's what they were taught. That's what they absorbed from their environment. Like, it's way easier to accept things when you look at it in that perspective. And honestly, I feel like what you said in the last episode, you and your family, I think, handled everything in the best way that you could.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And with the best of intentions too. I truly believe that.
Thank you.
So I guess my first question then, with your brother's addiction, was there ever a sense of embarrassment either for them or for you? Or was there like a fear that when people found out about it that they would pity you or treat you differently with all of that?
For my brothers, I know for a fact that there was there was and still is a sense of embarrassment. Touching on, the conversations that I've been having more with my older brother. Last night I was on the phone with him and he's like, I just feel like people look at me in a different way, and I feel like I've already been judged and they don't even know who I am. And yeah, I do feel that there's a sense of embarrassment. There's a sense of shame. There's a sense of shame that I definitely felt as well. In talking to my therapist, Patty. Hey,
Hey, Patty.
She kind of went down this whole big thing of like, you got to let go of what happened. Or there was a mental block for me to reach out and just say hey to somebody and be like, hey, how's it going? Just be a cool dude. Because instantly in my head, I would think that they've already know what has happened in my past. There's no point in engaging in conversation if somebody already knows this, because they're going to judge me for it. They're not going to want to interact with me because of it. And at the end of the day, like, I'm just not going to make a connection with anybody here. So there's no point in even fucking doing anything.
Do you mean anybody here, like anybody in general, or people that knew
Both.
about it? Okay.
Both.
Okay.
Both. Before this, I never had a problem interacting with anybody. I've always kind of felt like I was a pretty outgoing dude. I could, chat people up and it was all cool. But then I'd like slowly started to see more and more signs of this. And it was at a show. I was at a show. It was just like a couple local bands that I knew that were playing. And I remember walking through the doors of the venue and just thinking to myself, nobody wants anything to fucking do with you.
Aww.
And I was like, interesting. I took a sec to think about that. And I had to force myself through the doors of the venue. And it was good that I did that, because it allowed me to... I feel like I'm constantly trying to prove myself wrong because of everything that's kind of happened. So I'm always trying to test myself. Is this actually true? Do people actually hate me? And is that band, let's say, not going to like me because of what I think they might know about my brothers?
Interesting. But I have to say, like, it's so good that you still push yourself through those thoughts. Like, there's a lot of people who would think the same thing as you and feel like they have to avoid certain situations. They have to stop themselves because they let it consume them. Yeah, good for you for doing that.
Yeah, well, thank you. And you could argue that I'm still kind of going through this time, but I didn't really know how to express myself in an honest way. I hate to throw them under the bus, but that's kind of a byproduct of, family trying to keep this under wraps. Don't say anything to anybody. If anybody asks what your brothers are doing, they're busy, they're in construction, they're doing this, they're doing that. Nobody needs to know, kind of thing. At first I rolled with it, and at first I understood, family name, you don't want to tarnish that, especially in an Italian background. And then I kind of thought to myself, fuck that. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Did you feel like you weren't being authentic during that time, that you were like taking on this sort of fake persona, hiding that?
I did. And I'm not about being contrived at all. When you meet me, this is who I am. Like, I'm just a weird fucking dude.
In the best way.
Sits in a cave and makes records. So... and watches Formula One. Like, who the fuck does that? Like, I'm a weirdo. It's cool.
We love weirdos.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't see myself giving an honest representation of who I was. The conversation of my brothers being addicts wouldn't even have to pop up. But it was the fact that I knew that I was kind of carrying this around with me.
Yeah, it was like a cloud over top of you.
Yeah.
Waiting to rain.
Yeah. It was raining a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it was like... And then I started to be more honest with people. I remember talking to this guy at a show. He's like, yeah, man, I wrote this song that I think we're going to record with you. I was like, oh, great. Like, what's it about? I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to open up about this, but my dad's an addict. I don't know my dad. And I was like, fuck. He's like, he was in and out of the picture growing up. And I really admired his sense of like just being honest. And I told him, I was like, dude, I totally know you're feeling, because my brothers are living on the street. At that time, they were living on the street. And I was like, and we just really bonded. And I think because of the whole don't tell anybody, you're almost embarrassed to open up to people about the situation at hand.
Yeah, it's like because you were told to keep it a secret, kind of, I would assume, is the reason you started getting those like resentful feelings towards your brothers and like feeling embarrassed because you were basically told it's embarrassing in a way.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't thrown in the forefront, but it was
Right.
definitely there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to my shrink about this. I fucking love her. She's great. Like I can literally, therapy is the best.
It is
I love
the best thing.
But she was like, not your fucking shit. Like you have not done anything, and you having to, lie about what your brothers are doing, and people finding out about it. That's not your shit. If you want to be honest about it, you be honest about it. If anyone has anything to say about that, that's their problem. It's not yours. And I was like, fuck, that is so true. So I've been more and more honest about the situation. And, you get people that are like, ooh, that's weird. Because maybe they just don't understand it. And that's fine. But the majority of people, they know somebody that may be struggling with addiction. Like a lot of people that I've talked to understand, like, what is going on. And I think that was a really big eye-opening moment for me, was that I have nothing to be ashamed of. My brothers don't even have anything to be ashamed of. Everybody has their own fucking path, and some people figure it out quicker than others, and that's totally fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really important. As you're talking about this, I'm kind of having like a moment, because as I ask the question of, are you embarrassed or do you fear that people will look at you differently? I kind of realized that like I don't talk about things because of that exact reason. And whether it be like my anxiety or the situation with my dad not really being around, I kind of keep it in because I don't want it to like fully be real or recognized as an actual problem or issue.
Yeah.
So that's something maybe I should work on.
Yeah. Kelly.
Like, damn, what the heck? You kind of touched on it, and you did mention it in your submission that you find it hard to connect with people. Personally, I feel like I know you very well. I never would have guessed that about you.
I wouldn't have either.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Either you're hiding it really well or like,
Or you're doing better than you think.
Yeah. Or yeah, exactly.
I think that all, sorry to interrupt, I think that all just kind of plays to the whole challenging yourself kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is this actually true?
Right.
Yeah.
I am in a similar boat as you, whereas I have trouble connecting with people for the reason being that it's either going to end badly. I just feel like sometimes it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, why would I make new friends or make new connections when I have some good ones? Like, what's the point?
Yeah, like it's probably easy with what both of you guys have gone through to start to like define your own life and what's going to happen in your life based on what other people have done that are close to you. But like, I fortunately haven't like experienced anybody in my family or, like super close friends that have struggled with addiction or have like abandoned their family or friends or whatever. But it's, I guess, something that you have to eventually like teach yourself that you are not defined by those people in your life. And that doesn't mean that like everybody else is going to act that same way. And I know that's got to be like super hard to eventually get to that. Both of you guys are awesome. Like everything that you're doing, I feel like you're doing so right. Like that's so impressive to me to hear, like somebody who's gone through like family with addiction, Kelly with your dad, like you both, I feel like have enough like respect for yourselves to understand that like you deserve to have those meaningful relationships, and especially with your brothers, like you still deserve to have that good relationship.
Oh yeah.
And your brothers deserve it too.
Totally. I'd be lying to you if I said that, if my oldest brother, decides to turn it around and get clean, I'd obviously be there to support him and to be there in every way. Would I be a little bit more guarded moving forward? Of course.
Understandably.
I think rightfully so, yeah.
Yeah, would there be cobwebs that would need to be worked out between us? Like 100%. at the end of the day, they are my brothers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And blood is the tightest bond that you can have with somebody. So I will be there to support my brothers through thick and thin.
And that makes you a real damn good brother.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, so you did mention one of your brothers has been sober for a year. Have you talked to him about talking on this episode?
I have not. It's just an added layer to the whole honesty thing. And if anybody has a hang up with it, feel free to call me or take me out for a coffee because
Let's chat.
yeah. I got my own shit and I'm allowed to say whatever the fuck I want to say.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I do think that you opening up about this will hopefully help somebody else that listens to this episode and the last episode that are maybe going through the same thing.
yeah. When I was first going through this, you never stop going through it. I did not have anybody. My oldest brother first came out with his cocaine addiction. About a year prior to that, I had stopped communicating with the guys I used to hang out with in high school. They were kind of doing some stuff that I didn't see eye to eye with. When this all kind of unfolded, I literally had nobody. It would have been really easy for me to call up those old pals, go club banging,
Yeah.
whatever, be somebody
Do
who
what
I
they do.
totally wasn't,
Yeah.
and pretend that this shit didn't exist. I had nobody, and I had really no one to turn to. Even therapy, I was like, fuck that, I'm not going to fucking therapy. And you got this whole like pride thing. If doing this podcast and whoever's listening, and I'm helping whoever's listening out there, like, my job's done. That's all I could ask for. And if anybody wants to reach out and chat about anything, if they're feeling lonely about a loved one having an addiction problem, reach out, call me.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm a kind being, I promise.
We will maybe link your Instagram page or your email or something in this
Sure.
episode. So look out for
Yeah.
that if you do want to reach out to Matt, because I think he has got some open ears
Oh, yeah.
and a very kind heart.
Try to.
Okay, so let's kind of talk forgiveness then, and how your relationship with each of your brothers looks like today, or where you see it developing in the future, although it's kind of hard to say, obviously. But what are your hopes, I guess, is it the correct way?
For myself and my older brother, I hope that we can form a relationship. It's in its infancy right now. We're definitely not as tight as we maybe could be moving forward, and that's fine. I think in the submission, I kind of wrote out like when he took me out for a coffee and he was telling me about his steps and he was talking about, trying to make amends with me and all this kind of stuff. And like in that moment, I realized just so many things about what was going on. And when he was telling me about his experiences and like why he went down the path that he did, it was an accumulation of things that just added up throughout his life. Whether it was somebody like play fighting with us when we were a kid and he thought they were actually beating the shit out of him.
And that's what I think plays into the whole addiction as a disease. It's the way that, your mind works.
Yeah. So when he was telling me this, I started to understand that like he was kind of a passenger. Like the only way that he could find comfort through all the shit that he was thinking and through everything that he was going through was by harming himself. And like in that moment, I was like, dude, like it's okay. He's like, I want to pay you back for this. I want to pay you back for that. I was like, it's squashed. Like, don't worry about it. I forgive you. I love you. You're my brother. And like, let's just move on from this. I want to see you get better. I want to develop a relationship with you. I was actually going to buy him a set of golf clubs for his 1 year of sobriety.
Aww.
So him and I could go out, but then this fucking shit broke out and we weren't able to do it.
Yeah. So has he passed his year now?
He has, yeah. His year was March 18th.
Yay.
That's awesome.
That is
Yeah.
so awesome.
March 18th. And like, it is not easy. Like when I talk to him, he acknowledges just how much of a struggle it is. I think that helps, being honest with yourself and just, telling yourself, yeah, this isn't easy. It is an easier path to drop all this shit and to pick up a crack pipe
Exactly.
Yeah.
and to do it. But like, he's maturing.
And it's so important to recognize the work that is being put in by him too. Like how hard it must be to go from, like you said, the easy route of picking up a drug and doing it to escape, to have to switch that and put in so much work to be better, you know,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
something just to celebrate in itself. And regardless of the pattern in which they take to get better, that's something. It's something.
Just the fact that they're putting the effort.
Yeah. To touch on my oldest brother, I don't know. Him and I have not communicated for a few months. I don't know where he is. The last I heard, he was in a recovery home. I hope that we can have a relationship again. I can't hold my breath, though.
Yeah.
The moment I do is the moment I start getting hung up on stats
Yeah.
and wondering where he is at all
Right,
at all
right.
times, and it takes away from my life, which isn't fair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is that kind of a common theme when dealing with addicts, is not to hold your breath just in general?
I would say so. Be there to support them through thick and thin. Be there. But if they're doing their shit, you got to know that you cannot control it. There is absolutely nothing you can do to stop an addict from getting a fix. Nothing you can do. You're only making yourself vulnerable to being hurt, both physically and emotionally. The best thing to do is just kind of let it play out. That's the way I see it, at least.
Right.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate, but it's the most like realistic way that keeps you sane.
Yeah. That's the healthiest way.
They have to come to realizations on their own. What I've learned from my older brother was that he was found without a pulse multiple times.
Wow.
And he's like, I woke up, went back out, did more drugs, went into that same state, and it was just this constant cycle. And I was like, so what made you stop? He's like, I didn't want to fucking die anymore.
That's insane.
Wow.
Kudos to him.
Yeah.
Job, dude.
Seriously good for him. That's amazing.
Yeah. So through all that, I've through the years of learning about addiction and all that, I've come to you know, having to forgive them. There's no choice. And the feelings of resentment that you have, they're valid. Don't carry them around with you. And if you're having trouble letting go, see somebody, because man, it fucking helps.
I bet.
Yeah.
That's like probably one of the most important things. I'd say it is the most important
Oh
thing to
yeah.
do. Get help for yourself if you're also in a similar situation. It's hard to help other people if you're also struggling with how they're affecting your own life. And then you can also like move on with yours and not have that like overwhelming feeling.
Oh yeah. And I guess the biggest thing to wrap the segment up is can't help somebody who doesn't want to help themselves.
Amen.
It's probably also so hard to accept, but like you can't do it. You can help them get there, but yeah, you can't make the decisions for them. I was gonna ask, like, are you still like talking with your brother on the phone right now? Like after all the COVID-19 things happened, like
Oh yeah, he kind of made a joke because the whole social distancing thing's been put in place, and I was like, so how's that going for recovery? He's like, man, there's no fucking meetings anywhere. No one's fucking putting on
no.
anything, and I was like, shit. It's like,
yeah,
damn it. So I think they're doing a lot of Zooming and a lot of FaceTiming
That's
and
good.
stuff. But he's like, man, it's just not the same. Like he wants to have that person-to-person interaction. It seems as though that AA meetings have just been put on hold for the time being because they can't do it.
I didn't even think of that.
yeah, it's really interesting to think about that and like how all of this has affected people. I never thought about AA meetings, you know, other types of like support groups, and how like if you don't have that, like that's probably one of the biggest things people look forward to is like, you know, talking about it and talking to other people. So at least there is technology that like
Thank God.
they do have those
True.
Zoom meetings. Like yeah,
Yeah.
that's like super important
Totally.
to have.
Matt, you wrote something in your submission that really spoke to us, and I'll quote it. I've learned that I had to be okay with everything. If my brothers died on the street, it is completely out of my control and there is nothing I could have done to prevent it. I read that and I was like, holy shit. That might be one of the most powerfully heartbreaking things I've ever read. My respect for you for feeling that way and being able to just like feel that and know that is like out of this world amazing.
Well, thank you. I mean that all just kind of plays into the whole you can't do anything, or you can't help somebody who doesn't want to help themselves. And I used to think, you know, like what if my brothers died doing it? Like what if my brothers overdosed, and what if they died? There is nothing you can do. You know, would you have some fucked up feelings towards everything and how everything went down? Of course, but Can I go back in time and change it if anything were to happen? Absolutely not. Was it my decision for them to go? No, it wasn't. I can be okay with it knowing that this is the way that it had to be. And there's nothing I can do to get in the way of it. There's nothing I can do to stop it. And that's just the way that it had to be if it were to get to that point.
Is that like your advice to people if they are going through something similar, is to try to get to that point of acceptance?
I would say so. I mean, there's a lot of people I'm sure out there that would argue with it. I know for where I was in my life, I was caught between working Monday to Friday at the studio from 9:30 to 4:30, Monday to Friday at Costco from 5:45 to 10:45, and having the studio booked out on weekends from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. both days. So when I came to that realization, life was literally in front of me. Like what my roadmap was there. I had to come to that conclusion or else I wouldn't be where I am today. So in hindsight, I thank younger Maddie, good job, bud, for coming to that realization. I can't force somebody to come to that realization, but I would say that from experience, the quicker that I got there, the easier it was for me to just go on with my life, because your life can't stop. And you know, as selfish as it may sound, you got to take care of yourself.
I don't think that's selfish at all.
And it doesn't mean like not caring about your brothers. Obviously, you still love them, you still care about them, and you would do whatever you could.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to help them in the way that you can. But yeah, like I say this all the time, and I really truly think it's not a bad thing to be selfish. It's your own life. Like you can't live your life based on somebody else's choices. And you're one of the only people that I think I've ever like heard of that has actually come to that decision on their own and decided to like, this is what I'm doing for myself. I still care about my family, but like I need to care about me. It's a healthy way to deal with it too. And you still would have a relationship with your brothers, like if you could, for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying to you if I didn't think it was fucked up when I first heard that. I was like, how could you possibly be okay with that shit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, how does that even make sense? And it was Patty that first brought it up to my attention. Thank you, Patty, again. And I for the longest time, I couldn't wrap my head around it. But the more and more I got involved in my own life, and the more and more I started looking at what I needed, I didn't want to work at Costco for the rest of my life. So it was like, how the fuck do I move? Like, how do I get to the next spot? Is worrying about my brother's addiction going to help me get there? Sorry, boys, it's not. Is worrying about, you know, other people babying them gonna get me to the position that I need to be in? No, it's not. So I had to make that decision for myself. It was tough. It was hard, and it was fucked up wrapping my head around it. I'm not gonna lie, but I did, and I'm where I am today because of it.
Yeah, good for you.
Thank you.
Very proud of you.
Thank you. Reading it, I was like, yeah, okay, that's cool. And then you just put it as like literally verbatim what I put in the submission, and I was like, yeah, wow, I guess I really
like,
did have to come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
Like that's what I said.
They're
Yeah,
words, and they were on the paper, and it's like, hot damn.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is this incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't have anything else to like explain it. It's crazy.
I'll continue on that for a sec. I don't think, when I look at my parents handling the situation, I don't think it's something they've realized. I don't think it's something they've wrapped their heads around, though. And I think that is just a natural parent instinct.
I invite you, Matt. Have you read the book or watched? I don't know. I think it's out now, but it's called Beautiful Boy.
No.
Okay, this is a book about a dad's journey with his son's addiction. And it's quite incredible, I guess, how like he just talks about the roller coaster of life that is addiction, and like trying to support his son and doing, you know, A, B, and C to try and help him. It didn't work, and he's in and out of treatment centers. And I don't know if that would interest you, but it was great.
No, that seems very interesting. What's it called? Beautiful Boy?
Beautiful Boy. I felt like it was a good recap of what it's like. I wouldn't know, but even with what you're saying, I thought it was quite similar.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll thank you for that. I'll have to look that up and either read the book or watch the movie, or both.
I just wanted to acknowledge that all these examples that we're giving today, you know, like Matt, you with this situation, me with my situation that you just seriously never know what someone is going through,
Yeah.
whether they choose to be honest about it or not. And that's just a testament to just try and be better people.
I agree.
Yeah.
Be kind, love each other.
Be a good dude.
It really doesn't hurt. It's not hard. Just be nice.
Naturally, I think people just kind of gravitate to being a little bit more shy about the topic, about any topic, about anything they're going through. I think that's totally natural, and that's fine. It takes a degree of prodding from somebody else to find out about that shit, right?
I always say, like, I'm an open book, but I'm not like a verbal diarrhea.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
and you just wait for the opportunity
exactly.
to come.
If you ask, hell yeah, let's chat. Don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have this thought though of, if I come out and say it in whatever way that it is without the prodding, that people will think that it's either annoying or like uncalled for, or that I'm trying to like seek attention, and that is obviously the farthest from the truth. I don't want people to look at me differently or feel like, oh my God, I can't like talk about my dad around Kelly because she'll get upset.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and I don't.
Myself included. I struggled with this for a while, but there are people out there that have a problem being happy for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And you just never know who you're going to run into. I don't know, man. To me, candor is just, candor and just being blunt and just being open and honest is just such a fucking good way to go about life. And if somebody is gonna get fucking butthurt about, like, if I get butthurt about somebody having a better relationship with their siblings than I do with mine, like, the fuck does that say about me?
Yeah, there's a lot of bitterness in those people.
Right. Like, come on,
They
man.
haven't helped themselves. That's what it is, probably.
Yeah, totally, 100%.
And if you don't talk about these things, you have no idea, like, other people could be going through something similar, and they're probably waiting for someone to be like, oh, I kind of have the same thing going on. Like, I would have never known that Kelly had anxiety if I hadn't talked about anxiety too. Like, it's so helpful for yourself and to other people to, like, talk about things.
Anxiety is a motherfucker, isn't it?
It really is.
Hate it.
Hate it.
It's fucking crazy.
Well, on that note, Matt, let's wrap up this episode with some humor, shall we?
Yeah.
Love it.
We always end our episodes with guests with 2 very random questions. Are you ready?
I think so.
Question 1. What part of the human face is your favorite?
Oh, the eyes.
Okay. In male and females?
The eyes. When you get a dude looking at you, it just fucking pierces through your soul with those eyes, man.
I feel that.
Like, wow, it's beautiful.
I have to agree, though. Some people's eyes, you're just like, how?
Yeah.
How in the world is your face doing that right now?
I went to middle school with a dude who's like, anytime I looked at him, I was like, fuck.
You are good looking, damn it.
Well, you got me with those beautiful
man.
peepers.
And all the girls would talk about him, and I'm like, I know, right? Like, I know. I feel the same way. I know.
That's great.
No other guy here wants to admit it, but I get it. Like, I do.
That's so funny.
The eyes, man. It kills me every time.
Okay, let's go with question number 2. Would you rather look like a potato or feel like a potato?
Oh, look. Nobody wants to feel like a potato. Nobody.
But what
wants
if
to
you
feel-
like looked amazing, but you just felt crappy?
Yeah, no.
But why potatoes don't have to feel crappy?
Potatoes could look
Why do
good.
potatoes? I love potatoes. Why are they getting such a bad rap here?
Like baked potatoes?
Fair.
yeah,
You know what I'm
French
saying?
fries,
I'd rather-
French
chips.
fries
I'd rather look it and know it than feel it.
and flaunt it.
Fuck yeah, 100%.
Like, I love potatoes, and I'm gonna look like a potato.
I did not see that question going in this direction, and I am so happy right
Dude,
now.
I would fucking show
Yeah.
off all my potato curves too. You know how like unnatural it is, dude. The more you can own just like who you are is like the easier it'll be.
Freaking amen. Seriously.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't like your answer at first because I was like, I would totally feel like a potato because, like, potatoes don't have to do anything. They can taste really good. Like, they're great.
You get all of that
but-
with me.
Yeah, but you know what? I really love your answer Not
Oh.
expecting it.
Well,
I love
thank
it.
you. Well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna flip the script a little
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
bit. What's your guys' favorite part of the face?
I have to be totally honest. I look at everybody's teeth to the point that I could honestly tell you things like the people that I'm close to. I could tell you things about their teeth.
I'm going to feel really self-conscious next time I'm around you in person.
I am so sorry. I don't know if that comes with like having a hard time making eye contact. I can look people in the eye, but I have a hard time holding it. So I divert to their teeth. But that also has made me in turn appreciate a good smile. So not teeth, but just like mouth smile. And I'm into it.
You want to hear something gross?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I only brush once a day.
No.
Do you floss?
Wait, is it at night or in the morning?
Early in the morning.
Okay, at least it's morning.
But do you floss?
Negative.
No flossing either.
But how about you, Brittany? Part of the human face. What do you like?
Thinking about it, I always look at people's lips
Mm.
and I notice if they have like really nice shaped lips.
They're all chapped and fucked up.
I definitely realize that too. I'm like, oh girl, you need some chapstick. Jesse always needs lip balm, and I'm like, dude, carry it in your pocket. Like you need to.
I'm gonna do the rest of the interview, the rest of the FaceTime like this, because I'm scared about what's happening down there.
We're making him self-conscious
Oh
now.
man, totally.
You have a
Okay,
beautiful
Potato.
Yeah,
face,
no.
Matt. You have a beautiful face.
Thank you. Potato, feel it, look it.
Last, but certainly not least, let's talk about our therapy for the week. My therapy for the week, I'm going to get all sappy and cute right now, is feeling closer to Spencer.
Oh, that's so nice.
We have been, not that we argue, but we have our bickering tendencies. But during this, we have, I feel like, gotten closer and just more like loving.
Aw.
There's just a lot more quality time,
Yeah.
obviously. It's never rushed,
Yep,
and it just
feel
like
that.
feels good. And I'm just all about it. And I'm just like falling in love with him more and more, you know?
Oh. Ew.
Shout out to
Kidding.
And that's some
Spencer.
good damn therapy, I'll tell you.
Yeah, that is actually so nice.
That's great therapy. I gotta say one thing about Mr. Spenny. He is like the easiest motherfucker to get along
Oh
with.
my god, so true.
Do you want to know something interesting about Spencer?
Yeah. I mean, the more I know about my husband, the better.
That is the one thing that he is the most self-conscious about.
Really? Man, he's got a fucking natural talent for
Yeah.
that shit. He's like the Wayne Gretzky of getting along with people.
There are so many times where he's like, oh my God, I feel like such an idiot. I can't talk to anybody.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
You know what I was thinking the other day? I don't know why. I was just driving and I was like, you know what? Spencer's just like so easy to talk to. Like he makes you feel just like comfortable and like
Yeah.
can talk about whatever. Like he's not going to judge you. It's very nice.
Yeah.
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 I can't wait for him to hear this because I try and tell him that all the time.
My therapy for the week has been watching The Outsider.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the new show, not The
Mhm.
Outsiders. The Outsider. I listened to the audiobook The Outsider by Stephen King. Loved it, and like 3/4 of the way through listening to the book, I saw online that they were making a show out of it, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is perfect timing, amazing!" So we recently got Crave, and I'm watching it, and it is so good. I feel like they're doing it like perfectly.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, but also like there's like a few little differences, but it's like it still makes it good. Like it's still very enjoyable, and to the fact where like, oh, I don't remember this happening. Like this is new. This is actually kind of like exciting, and I don't expect everything. So I love finding like a new show to watch. So I've been watching that this week, and I love it.
Outsider or
The Outsider, singular.
Matt, what's your therapy?
My therapy. I don't know. Can I have a bunch? Is it okay to
Yeah,
like
go
bunch
for
shit
it.
Oh,
together? I
God,
got
yeah.
like 3. Okay. The other night, writing out my submission.
Oh yeah.
was like huge. And I didn't expect it, but I was like, fuck. I ended it and I was like, they probably don't need any more, so this is fine. So I'm just gonna like stop it. And then I took a sec to like just realize my surroundings because it was 3 hours on my phone just typing it out.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow.
And like I looked around and I just see the cat like on her back just doing a fucked up face and just looking at me super weirdly. And I just felt like so relieved and so cool about everything.
Oh my god,
Just
I'm
getting
so
it
glad.
all out.
Yeah, so I should do more of that, more like diary writing or something like that. It was
Yeah.
great. Number 2, last night I found myself with nothing to do, and there's a project that everything's tracked, and it just needs to be mixed. But through the COVID-19 shit, nobody knows what's happening with it. So I was like, I got like shitty Apple earbuds. I got a bunch of plugins. I have no worry about budget or time, and I'm just gonna fucking have fun with this.
Oh,
cool.
nice.
And I opened up my laptop and I just mixed away on these shitty like iPhone earbuds. It was the greatest thing. It brought up these restrictions that I've never had before, and it was like, well, how am I going to work around this? And it made me test it made me test my engineering skills, which is cool.
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
So I really love that. And lastly, man, I got to give it to Amanda. Seeing her come through the doors every day of after work has made me appreciate a whole lot of shit in my life.
Aw. You guys, you're so sweet.
Seeing my girlfriend fight the good fight against COVID-19, man,
Yeah.
that has been therapy, and that's like 3.5 for me. That's like 1.5 therapies for me. That's
Yeah. Applause to Amanda and everyone else out there fighting
Yeah.
this shit,
yeah.
man.
Thank you
Thanks,
to all our
guys.
healthcare
Goddamn.
workers. Thank you.
Love you all.
But yeah, that would be my therapies for the week.
That was some good
Love
shit.
that. It was.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, I think that about wraps up part 2.
Thank you again, guys. This has been lovely.
Matt, thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you for being on it and opening up. It was really cool to like learn more about your life
Yeah.
and something that like I've never experienced, and learning something that someone else has gone through that's just like insane, but you've like made the
Yeah.
absolute best out of it. It's very cool.
Thank you. And
Very
you know what?
inspiring.
It felt really great to open up about it. So yeah, thank you.
I'm so
was
glad because
great.
that's kind of what we want this podcast to be, is like
Yeah.
there's going to be some like real hard hitting topics, but we hope that in whatever way possible that it helps somebody, whether it's a person listening or like yourself, a guest, or us even, just
Yeah.
talking about it.
Maybe next time around I'll ask the question.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
On that note, we will say goodbye. Until next time, listeners. Shalom.